Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. So I was sitting here working on some stuff and I'm like, this video needs to be made. I don't think I've seen this video. Someone's probably done it though. I mean, I don't see how someone couldn't have done it, but I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about the census. What that is it's a database. CGC has one where it shows all the books that have been graded and their grades, whether it be restored, 9894, signed, stuff like that. And it basically is a population report of all the books that have been graded through CGC and their grades. Now, CBCS as well has a new census, but there's a huge flaw in the census. I recently saw a video. Dang it, I forgot the name of who it was. Someone sent it to me. It was talking about market manipulation in regard to games, video games. They touched on slabs and graded books and cards and stuff like that. And they had mentioned in there that the census is what can save it. More accurate, or not more accurate, the census, to have a census on all the stuff that's graded. And the first thing that clicked in my mind was you're 100% wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, a lot of you probably already know about this. I'm going to give you a couple examples. This won't be a long video, but I want you to consider what I'm talking about and how everything can be changed. Everything can be manipulated. And the census is nothing different. It doesn't escape the possibility of errors and abusing the system. I've done it, and everyone I know's done it. So I'm going to break down the stuff really quick for you and show you a couple examples. The problem here is that since pressing became bigger on the scene, right? People get their books pressed, get it the best possible condition, send it in. If the book gets graded, let's say you're looking for a 9.8 and the book gets graded at a 9.4, you're going to get that book back. You're like, damn it. And you're going to crack it out of the case and you're going to say, why is this that? Maybe press it again, and you're going to submit it again without the label, without the old label, because you don't want CGC to see that you're cracked the one you just sent in because you got a lower grade and you sent it back. The problem exists here where people will do this 10 times on one book until they get that 9.8. They're after the 9.8. And in some cases, they can afford to do that because a 9.8 is so much more expensive. And they will do it until they get the 9.8. Problem is, there'll be 5 9.4s, 6 9.6s, and it'll stay in the census. So the census is inaccurate until they get a 9.8. So the possibility here, let me pull up something so you can see. I just thought I'd talk about it a little bit because it's been kind of annoying me to think that the census itself saves the day is quite a big mistake. Okay, so let me give you an idea here. The first appearance of X23. Okay, here's the deal. I don't think you can see my little arrow, but if you look at the 9.8s, okay, you have, so the signature series 9.8s 202, those won't change. Once you get a signed 9.8, it's 100%, I would think. Not, there's a couple, look, there's 599s, which is amazing. But once you get to that 9.8 status, and especially a signature series, basically, yeah, at the 9.8, you're not going to keep sending it in. Okay? So you can look at most signature series and say, probably those are all accurate. Maybe someone cracked it and repressed it and sent it back in, but they would have to do it with the label. Okay? With the label. Say, look, I don't like that 9.6, so I'm going to send it back in. I'm going to have them crack it, press it, so they know that it was witnessed, right? Because it's signature series, big deal now. Everything's got to be witnessed, blah, blah, blah. And maybe grade it. But in that case, most likely, and we don't know for sure, but in that case, CGC would probably remove the 9.6 if it got a 9.8. So it would be, it was 134, now it's 133. And then add the 9.8 to the 202. That's the only way that you can guarantee. Well, we don't even know for sure if CGC does this, but it's expected. If you send in a book that was slabbed and you get it pressed, and then they will remove the old grade and replace it with new grade, okay? Here's the problem. How many of the regular graded 9.4s and 9.6s were cracked and pressed and resubmitted without the label? A lot, I bet. I personally know people that have sent this book in, keep getting 9.6s 10 times. So that's an additional 10 that don't even exist in the census. Because once they get that 9.8, they're not cracking it again. So these numbers are off a lot. Except I think once you get into the 9.8. I mean, there might be some leeway in the 9.6, but most people want that 9.8, so they'll keep doing it until they get a 9.8. Which mostly means to me is that I can't give you a percentage. I can't. But in this day and time, it's all, especially for new books, it's all about that high grade. And if you're not telling them they can look at your order and say, this guy sent in NYX every week, right? What's going on here? He has a lot of, X23s. But it doesn't matter. They can't prove that it's the same book. You see what I'm saying? Unless they did some sort of like laser printed secret hologram serial number on your comic, which they're not going to do. But what that means is that these lower grade numbers, 9.6, 1330, they don't exist. There aren't that many out there. Is this making sense? So let me give you another example. I don't want to beat this thing to death, but I have a couple examples here, and I just thought it'd be a fun topic to talk about a little bit. I'll give you one of my examples. Okay, so I don't want CGC to get mad at me. That I had a 9.4 Spider-Man 300, right? It was perfect. I cracked it, I pressed it, I sent it back in. I got a 9.6. So there's one 9.4 added to the list that doesn't belong there. But then I got it signed by Stan Lee, right? And of course, to make sure that I guaranteed that grade, I had them take the slab, crack it, sign it, press it, and hopefully they removed the old 9.6 and replaced it with one of these signature series. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people out there that are guilty of, that's the game. For instance, one of the best games there is for I don't know how many of people out there do this. Average collectors can probably doing this now, but this is more of a game for a higher level collector, okay? I'm not saying I'm a higher level collector than you, but I've done this. So the game is to find a book on eBay that's slabbed, an old label, an old one before they change the case, something like that. And you look at it and you go, oh, that book's not pressed. That book, I have a Giant Size X-Men 9.2 old label. It hasn't been pressed. You can tell, all right? There's like bumps and stuff like that. I could easily crack that, press it, send it in, and try to get a higher grade. But because it's such an expensive comic, I think it's like 10 grand or something, I don't want to mess with it, okay? Plus, I like old labels. But the game here is to look on eBay for like a 9294, right? Old label. Because thought is CGC's grading a little looser now. In the old days, they were grading tighter with old ownership or people there. You find that old label, you buy it on eBay for cheap because it's a lower grade. You crack it, you press it, you send it in, and you hope for that higher grade. You could do that with all types of books, 80s books, 90s books. That's the game. That's a real collector game there. If you're a real big time buyer and flippers, to hunt for those old labels, get them, crack them. The problem is, again, right? The problem still exists here that the census is incorrect. The census is incorrect because of the game. And it's not like a crooked thing. I mean, it's like a loophole, right? It's like a loophole. Unless you're, an angel, you're not sending it. Why would you send it in with the old label and have them press it? When you can have a professional crack it, well, anyone can crack it. Professional press send it in like it's a brand new book from the wild, right? Miles Morales, Ultimate Fallout 4. How many of these 9.6s don't even exist? How many people bought it, cracked it, pressed it to get that 9.8? Would you even consider saying 20%? 20% of them were 9.6s, but now they're 9.8, but they never changed the census because they didn't know that you took an old label, you pressed it and got a 9.8. So what's 20%? 500 books, right? 560 of those 9.6s. This is just a guess. But, well, let's even say 10%, okay? 10% is 280 books. So 280 of that 2,817 books don't even exist, right? So that's the problem, the main flaw with the census. You're not going to be doing it with a gigantic book, especially when it has some sort of history behind it. And you're not going to be doing it, honestly, if you're like the only one on the census. I have a couple of books that there's only like 2 on the census, and they're old and they're signed, and I don't want to mess with it. If I was going to try to upgrade it, I would send it back, have them crack it, press it through their system, and try to upgrade that way. But since it's signed and it's certified, the only way I could get a signature series is sending the label. But that's my point. My point is, honestly, the census doesn't mean anything at all. Really. Not these days, not anymore. Not with the spec market, not with hunters out there doing what I was saying on eBay, buying old labels. If you guys do, I would do it. If I had more time, that's all I'd be doing. But I'm more into original art now. I want like the page. Like I want the original page of that cover. I'm not looking for, yeah, I do some modern grading and stuff like that and some old keys, but I'm after covers and internal art because I personally believe that's the final stage of comic book collecting, stuff like that. But I hope this maybe opened your eyes to the census. You probably already knew this and made you question. I'm not trying to get you guys to question grading, but I am on the fence now with all this other bullcrap going on, with people sending in fake signatures and all that. Like, I'm almost to the point where I've got my old books, I got them slab. Besides new modern 9.8s for quick spec flip or movie pickup deals, I'm feeling like I'm almost going to start going just pure raw. And that's the way she likes it. So I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments if you do. Hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel for any reason, please subscribe. You guys have a great day.